We got loose wheels.
Crooked in the parking lot.
Slipping around like...
Well, this is just a video of me touching long nuts, I guess.
Quick reaction.
Don't move it. Pretty much. Just take a hand grenade, right? In there. Boom! In today's video, I'm fixing up a 1963 Impala lowrider. So in today's video, I got a 63 Impala inside the shop, and what's gonna happen with this car is we're gonna pull the whole engine out, and maybe also the drivetrain, who knows yet. And this thing is leaking so much of the engine, of the transmission. So we're gonna fix up all the leaks and make this a solid daily driver runner again, so it doesn't drip everywhere it goes. There's nothing worse than your lowrider sitting there all crooked in the parking lot, and people can look under it, and there's a puddle there, there's a puddle there, there's a puddle there, there's a puddle there. So let's jump straight into this thing, pull out the engine, take it from there. First of all, we're gonna get this giant hood off, so let's do that. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna move this thing forward a little bit, because the car is so freaking long that it doesn't fit on the lift really. And you already know it has an X-frame, so lifting this thing is, it's a big job, okay? So hood is off, and next thing we're going to do now, I'm going to put the car on the lift, and I want to go and check out where does this thing actually leak from. Kind of get an idea of what we have to look at when we get the engine out, or if there's anything we should already test now while the engine is still in and running. So this is my first time taking a look under this car, and let me tell you, there's oil on everything. I mean, I don't even know where the oil starts to come out. You know? There's on the oil pan, there's on the pan on the transmission, there's from the rear main area, from the water pump area, there's from the power steering area, there's from the radiator area. First thing I just noticed is we got loose wheels, and you already know why, because we got spinners, and as you can see, they're completely loose to the touch pretty much. That's not good. But that's the spinner life, I guess. You gotta go around, and every time you go for a drive, you gotta knock on these things. The other wheels seems tight, but this front right tire, definitely loose. One thing that isn't leaking is the air suspension, so that's pretty good. However, I think we got leaky transmission lines. I'm pretty sure that's the big puddle right here, I think. But I'm not really sure, because that actually looks more like water. If you can see how the other spots are more dark, if you will, still wet, where this is kind of evaporated kind of looking. I have a tendency to think it's a radiator somewhere. And then of course we got the whole power steering stuff on these early GM cars, which is just a terrible design. Just like Ford had, Chevy Corvettes had the same system as well, the power ram steering. It's terrible. Now the engine, I mean, it's just dripping out everywhere. Honestly, I can't even see where it stops. See the whole cross member here, there's oil spots on it. The whole oil pan here, there's oil on it. And the whole pan itself is like wet. Inspection cover is wet, trans pan is wet. The transmission is a little bit wet on the upside of the trans, but I think that's some of the stuff from the engine like flying over the engine. The oil filter has a drip hanging there. Brand new oil plug, but it's leaking as well. It's the debacle of the leaking Impala. So let's bring this thing down again, and I'm just gonna start to like remove stuff. So we got our drain pan here. Ew. I need a new glove now. If you got access and can get up to them, I know with headers and stuff it could be hard, right? Otherwise, right up here, there's a little drain thing, whatever, on the block. A little drain peacock right here up on the block, so you can drain the whole block of coolant. Pulling an engine, and then when it starts to like teeter and totter on the engine hoist and crane and whatever, it pours out the water pump, then it pours out the head, then it pours out, and suddenly you got like a whole Florida swamp thing going on the floor, and you're like slipping around, like falling down on your back and stuff. So let's see if this thing is just filled with oil. There you go. Yep, we got a pretty good like little puddle in here of very thick engine oil. So what? Does this thing have a through bolt and a nut on the converter? That's not original, is it? On GM? Water out, exhaust pipes, That's definitely completely loose. That has never sealed anything. Can you guys see that up there? Look at this side too. Guess we are fixing exhaust donuts / gaskets as well. I just noticed, look at the whole block. It's completely black from exhaust over here. Same on this side, completely black up on the side of the block that would exhaust. So I worked on a few GM cars before and a through bolt and a not through the converter. I never seen that before, but I haven't worked on this early 60s cars, I guess. So let's just rotate the engine over here because we got no compression in this thing. There you go. Right now we are loosening up this lever that goes down to the transmission. It goes to the block and then in through the car. So I'm just gonna loosen it right down here because then we can just slide it off. There we go, got the rod off, just hang out right here. Now we're gonna take the 2 exhaust pipes off, then the starter and engine mount bolt. Yeah, that was one. What the hell is this nut? Have you guys seen one of these before? Look at how long it is. That's strange, but okay. More thread engagement, I guess. That's gonna go to the exhaust bin. There you go. Bag it and tag it. Very large nut up right here on the starter. I have not seen this before. No idea what's going on with all these long nuts. Well, this is just a video of me touching long nuts, I guess. Come on, ratchet. Why won't it ratchet? God dang it. What's up with this big old weird brass nut? What the hell is going on? I guess this is why I never worked on a lift before. I actually hate standing like this with a bent back and arms across my freaking head. I kind of want to put this car in jack stand right now. Comment down below if you're the same way. Like, what the hell is this? I'm made out of brass and fine threads. Look at this. That was just a broken wire attached to the starter. Why? The starter, do you want to come off the engine or what? I just realized that one of those early starters where they also have a bracket on the front of the starter that bolts to the engine block. Yeah, what do you know? You gotta remove that as well, I guess. What do you know? If you remove the last hardware, the thing practically fall out. There you go. Man, that's oily. There you go, 1 engine belt. Just gonna get a wrench up there, lay the wrench, impact, and then and then it should be out. So yeah, sound effects, that makes everything better. There you go, another bolt. Quick reaction, never drop a tool. The best car room-wise I still worked on is probably my 73 Roadrunner. I don't know why, but I felt like everything was just so like open, like you just like get hands in there, tools in there. And I feel like Mopar also just put things together in a smart way, hardware-wise. Like you can always like get to the hardware and stuff, where especially Ford, I feel like sometimes the hardware is like placed really strange. Like a starter bolt, like the inner starter bolt on a Ford FE, right? Who the hell designed that? There you go, they're all loose, so I'm just gonna pull them out now by finger, and then I'm gonna go up top. I'm gonna remove the rest of them up there. I'm not worried about the engine falling down anyway. It's sitting on a dowel pin, so what should happen? Well, let's bring this boat down. If you guys saw the Challenger video, right? There's this stupid thing, and you kind of have to like pull that out so the lift can go all the way out, like a safety thing, right? The thing is, I don't really have anything to hold it out with. You see videos with me standing with a broom like this, doing like this, so I can do this over here. As you can see right there. I mean, it works, but it looks kind of dumb. So right now I'm gonna take everything that's like wiring harness coming off the engine. Man, look at that little river carburetor right there. What's that? Well, as you can see, everything is pretty much prepped now to pull the engine out. And the only thing I was looking at is it's real damn close to the brake boosters. I'm not sure if we're gonna clear that, but we're gonna try first of all. If not, then we're probably gonna have to remove the driver's side valve cover to get a little bit of clearance over there, because these are like taller or bigger valve covers than stock valve covers. So you would probably gain like an inch or maybe 2 inches of clearance over there. Maybe I could imagine if we remove that. So let's jump straight into this, throw an engine hoist on it, and see how much of a debacle this is gonna be.
Well, here's a little surprise.
I believe those are Comcam's roller rock arms, or roller tip rock arms anyway.
So I guess this thing has already been opened up at some point and gotten a little bit of an upgrade anyhow. The thing is, it's still a freaking 2-barrel stock cast iron intake. So why would you spend money on roller tip rockers when there's no cam in it, there's no intake, there's no headers, there's no nothing. It doesn't even look like the valve springs have changed, so it's probably still stock valve string, stock camshaft and stuff like that. Definitely the car drove like stock camshaft, stock car and everything like that. So sure, why not? Roller tip rockers. First upgrade to do on an engine.
And we just gotta get the old engine crane. So most of you guys probably know that an engine crane is made to do a certain type of weight. Can't handle the speed shield, we don't really care. Safety first, kids. So I pretty much made a piece of square tubing here that is pretty much double as long as the beam that originally comes with this crane. Plus, I drilled extra holes in it. You don't have to worry about the engine crane tipping. And of course, for ballast underneath here, so the engine crane doesn't tip over, we've of course got a Ford FE big block intake manifold, cast iron. And if you know anything about Ford FE, that intake manifold is like 120 pounds or something. It's crazy heavy, so we got ballast.
So there we go, just got the engine out and it's hanging on the hoist right here. So, I'm gonna put the engine on an engine stand and then we're pretty much ready to tear this engine down.
Also, I think where a lot of the oil leak is coming from is actually like the oil valley, I think it looks like. And then also there's old school PCV stuff that you have on 283s, 260s, 327s and stuff like that. Also, look at these weird plugs they've done over here. This is for the oil galleys and stuff like that. They put a bolt in and then an Allen bolt and then cut it with an angle guide. I don't know. We're gonna look into that once we get the flex plate off. That looks weird. Here's another thing that I found out. You can see there's a pilot bearing in here. So most likely, I would assume that this engine is maybe not original to the car and has been in a car with a manual transmission. And it looks like also they've been pounding in a freeze plug in over here because it's filled with a, I don't know, silicone, maybe weld. I don't know what's going on here. It's like all sticky, tacky or whatever, like some weird stuff on it, so that's kind of strange. Valve cover, there's no doubt about we had leaking valve covers at some point because they were glued in, especially on the passenger side with a lot of silicone and stuff like that.
So if we can get away with just like a quick hole and some new rings and bearings and stuff like that, freshen it up with a gasket kit, then that's what we're gonna do.
So of course you're just gonna get the flex split off real quick and then we're gonna throw it on the engine stand, then we can turn it around and stuff like that. So. There we go, got the bolts out for the flex plate and this thing gonna slide right off like that. Next thing we're gonna do here is just put on this engine stand plate. I don't know what you want to call it. This thing. On a small block Chevy, these bolts aren't that big, so you don't really want to like torque them down that much, because otherwise you're maybe gonna pull some threads or something. You know what I mean? So no reason to overdo it, I guess. When the bolt starts to smoke, you know you got it in there. And there you go. It's on the engine stand. Let's tear it apart. Just blow it apart. Pretty much, just take a hand grenade, right? In there. Boom! Yes. Well, guess I know why it's leaking now. We got China wall gaskets. You just don't use these, okay? And there's a bunch of silicone on here. This one is already like pushed into the valley and stuff. So now we know that. That's definitely the reason why it was leaking down the China wall, especially in the rear thing. Well, let's try to pull the oil, and if I can pull it here without making an absolute mess. Definitely some thick stuff, but no metal in it. No shiny stuff. I don't think there's a magnet in this plug, but
There's nothing on it if there is any. But man, that's some thick stuff. That's definitely 2050, if not more. 1060 or something, I don't know. So I just pulled out the spark plugs, and man, let me tell you, these things are dirty as hell. There's no wonder, like, when you hold it at a certain RPM, like 3000 RPM, you can hear the thing like almost like two-stepping out the rear pipes or whatever. Because when I pull these things, they are really bad, and I actually think these are kind of new spark plugs, so that makes it even worse that they're already that dirty.
This right here is the driver's side. If you can see, there's a lot of oil deposits, so it's burning some oil somewhere. Piston rings or valve stem seals maybe. But if we take a look over here on the passenger side, it's even worse.
This one right here, it's almost like plugged solid, if you can see that. I don't even think this thing was sparking, so maybe this thing was running on 7 cylinders. I mean, there's a gap in there, but it's so wet and so filthy that I doubt it. This thing also had like a really hard time cold starting, which also tells me that it has to like get warm before it actually like cleans the plugs or whatever, because otherwise they're like damp or moist of oil or whatever, so it needs like heat and flame and fire in the plugs in there to actually like clean them and burn it off properly. I could imagine, I would assume. We'll tear further into this thing. Let's pull the heads off now and see how cylinders on the side of the combustion chamber and stuff like that looks, and if there's any like cracked valves, seats, or anything like that. So I just got one of the heads off, and I think the reason why this thing is using a lot of oil, the cylinder is actually really nice, really clean, and there's no like ring ridge or anything like that, or surface rust or anything to see like that. But it's completely glazed over or whatever, because it kind of looks like glass, if you know what I mean, because it's all like shiny or whatever down the cylinders. There's no cross hatching, you can almost see like your own reflection and stuff like that. So we got all the parts for the engine over here. This stuff fills up real quick, hardware and all this thing, and then all the parts right here. And what I think here is probably also valve stem seals. Most likely also running fat, so it's like carbon, it's oil, it's everything. But I'm gonna take the other head off, assess that head, if there's any like cracked valves or sunken valves, anything like that. Then we can also see how good of shape the bearings and bottom end, and if we have to do anything about that. Worst case scenario, you may have seen, the reason why it's a new day is because yesterday I went to Sweden to pick up a 350 and a 350 transmission. It's pretty much just for sale or whatever, that I can flip and make a few bucks so I can keep this whole YouTube thing and stuff going. However, if this thing is like in good shape in the bottom end and stuff, I actually rather want to use this thing, because then we know what shape this is in. Where that engine over there, I can't tell you what shape it's in. I haven't torn it down yet, so I have no idea. It's just got pulled from a C20, 1971 C20 truck. Running and driving. The guy's doing an air swap, so he said it was running perfectly, so most likely it is. It looks pretty good. The oil, the spark plugs and everything that I could see on it, so. Alright, let's break the seal. By the way, all the oil pan bolts, not that tight. Hello, pickup tube. Can I get the oil pan? Thank you. Oil pan looks pretty decent. Actually pretty clean. There's a little bit of sludge in the bottom, but that's nice. I haven't seen that before. The pickup tube has like a support brace with a bolt in it, because usually the pickup tubes on the small like Chevy are just press fit. So usually you put it on a little tack weld so it don't fall off or anything. But this one actually has like a bracket over to a bolt, so that's nice. Good so far. But let's tear into it. Let's try to pull a main cap off and a rod cap off and get an idea of how good the bearings are. Well, goddamn, that almost looks, well, not brand new, but it looks pretty nice. It actually looks pretty decent. You can definitely see they're starting to get into like the copper or whatever. Let's get you guys in here. If you look at the crank itself, it looks really nice. There's a little bit of like vertical scratches or whatever, but honestly nothing I would worry about when this is just like a 180 horsepower street engine. Gonna polish it up with some fine sandpaper. If you look on the piston side of the rod, you can see there's a little bit of like a copper wear up here at the top. Metal shavings or some kind of fragments. Something has been working its way through the bearings at some point. But these bearings are really not that bad. Probably easily been like driving say 20,000 miles more on this engine. Probably bearing wise, because oil consumption wise and cylinder walls, and it's kind of done. It's done for. It's a good thing we're opening this thing up. So let's have a look at the main bearing, shall we? I just took some other of the rod bearings off, just put them on again just to have a look.
And they all look kind of identical. So I just like putting it back together so I know which rod cap goes to what and whatnot, because they are machined to each other. So crank looks nice. Main bearing looks really nice. It has one like vertical scratch or whatever, so luckily it's only really been damaging like the bearings itself, which makes sense because they're softer than the crank itself, I guess. Because like the crank here has like no scratches or anything.
There's a few deers out there. How interesting.
Oh yeah, by the way, I found this bolt inside the engine. As you can see, there's a very big knot on it, and for some reason it smells like chocolate or something. So I just gotta try it. You know? Yep. That's chocolate. Before you guys get burned or anything, this is a bolt and a knot made out of chocolate that my dad brought. Just a funny Christmas gift, right? Don't vote.
I'm pretty sure I was dumb enough to lay it in some oil on the engine right there. Because it tastes pretty bad.
I just rotated the engine around to have a look inside the crank area and stuff like that. And also look down at the cam itself. See how bad that looks. The cam looks like brand new almost. So probably no issue in just running the same lifters and cam in this thing. So that's the damage assessment I would say in this thing is we just got a lot of like blow bar and maybe crank pressure in this thing because of completely glazed over cylinder walls. Probably because this thing has been running too fat, because when you're running too fat and putting in too much fuel in the cylinders, you kind of wash down the oil that is on the cylinders or whatever, which will wear down the cylinder walls faster and quicker, which will then end up in oil consumption. And that's also why new fuel injection vehicles usually can run longer on an oil change just in general without the engine getting worn out, because there's only a little bit of fuel getting splashed in when it's needed. Where on a carbureted vehicle, it usually runs a tendency to run a little bit more fat than it have to. Fuel then washes down the cylinder walls, glazes the cylinder walls, and if it washes it even more down or get even more worn, then sometimes you get ring ridges on top of the cylinders and stuff like that. But I think we kind of caught this engine just in time to be able to fresh it up. So I think we found out what the issue was with this engine and where all the leaks were coming from. So far so good. We're gonna get all the parts ordered up for this thing. As I'm located in Europe, it usually takes a week to 2 weeks to actually get the parts. I can't really continue with this video so far. Now of course next video we're gonna freshen up the whole engine and get it put back into the car, freshen up the frame a little bit, paint some things to make it nice again. Of course, paint the whole engine so it looks brand new again. If you guys enjoyed them, please leave a like down below. It really helps out the algorithm and get my videos out there. So if you want to support the channel, then hit a like down below. And of course, if you want to see more videos and the next videos coming with this thing, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well, so you can get a notification when the next episode drops. So thank you for watching, compadres, and I'll see you in the next one.